Hello and welcome to another Vlogtober video. I'm going to start by talking about what I worked on holiday and a little story of I should have known better. It turned out okay in the end, but we're going to talk about that, where I am on my project at the moment. And then we'll see what else is coming up later in this Vlogtober video. I'm getting ready to go to Norway in a few days. I've got a ton of work to do. I'm working on finishing off a new design for a magazine. I've got to try and decide what knitting to take with me to Norway. So hopefully there will be a lot of knitting and crochet content later on in this vlog. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you're new here, my name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns. I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through our website YarnAddict.co.uk. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. My online shop is now closed until I get back from Norway in 2 weeks' time, because I think this will be out the day before I go to Norway. So let's start by talking about the project I took on holiday with me, because in my Lisbon vlog, I didn't have time to share about that. So if you missed my Lisbon vlog, it was last week on Friday. So if you missed it, do go back and check it out. So before I left for Portugal, I started a new version of this sweater. These shells, I think I'm calling them, clusters, I don't quite know what they are. I did 7 trebles. I'm doing a new version with 5 trebles. So I'm using a 3.75mm hook instead of 3.5mm, which I used on this one. And as you can see, this neckline is fairly big, which will be important later on. Anyway, I started this a couple of days before we left. I did the foundation row, which instead of doing chains and then crocheting into the chain, which I hate doing, I do a foundation row, so foundation trebles. Then I did 3 rows of the pattern. Nearly 3 rows of the pattern. When we left quite early because we had a kind of middle of the day flight, and we were also a bit worried about getting stuck in traffic on the motorway and that kind of thing. It's about a 2.5-hour drive from here to Bristol Airport without stopping. So we left quite early, and I hadn't slept very well that night, so I was quite tired. Simon was driving. I took this bag into the front with me and put it on the floor so that if I wanted to crochet on the way to the airport, I could do. I was working for the first bit. I don't normally knit or crochet for the first bit because the road's a bit windy. And once we get to Plymouth and we're on better roads, I tend to pick up my knitting or crochet. So I fell asleep once we got past Plymouth, and I slept most of the way until we got off the motorway, and then it was a bit too windy to crochet. And I remember thinking before we pulled into the airport parking that I must remember to pick up my crochet project. I picked up my handbag. I had a little tiny crossbody bag with me. I picked that up, and I should have picked up my project at the same time. Anyway, we got out of the car, picked up our backpack and a suitcase, set off to book in our car at the airport parking, got the bus to the airport, shuttle bus to the airport, and went through security, went upstairs to the pub, ordered breakfast, and sat down to wait for our daughters to meet us there. And then while we were waiting for breakfast, I thought, well, I'll do a bit of crochet while I'm waiting. So I opened my backpack, and there was no crochet project. This project was nowhere to be seen. And I was like, what have I done? Where is it? And I was like, I've left it in the car. I've gone and left it in the car. And I was devastated. Well, not devastated. Nobody died. But I was, really annoyed with myself. And I thought, well, I got nothing to work on. I'm going away for a week, and I got nothing to work on. I knew about one yarn shop in Lisbon that I wanted to visit, but I just Googled to see if there's any closer to our Airbnb, and there was one 15 minutes walk away. So I was like, right, I'm going to have to go there first thing tomorrow morning and get something, needles and yarn, and there's something I can work on, because I can't go without knitting or crocheting for a whole week. And then we ate breakfast, the girls arrived, we were chatting, and suddenly I thought, hang on, I did pack extra yarn. So I packed several extra balls of yarn, because obviously I didn't know how much I was going to get done while I was there. And I did pack too much yarn, as it turned out. Now, the day before, I was struggling to find my 3.75mm clover crochet hook. Last time I used it was when I was in Norway in July, working on my lilac, slightly different crochet sweater. And in fact, I've just found it now in my little pouch that I put all my knitting notions and bits and pieces in when I go on holiday. So when I finished it in Norway, because I finished it I think like 2 days before I left, I obviously put it in there and then just stayed in there. So I hadn't lost it. It was here. And I've just found it. Anyway, I did have one crochet hook, a Lantern Moon one, a wooden one. So I got this Lantern Moon crochet hook when I ordered notions and things for YarnAddict, because I can get this from my wholesaler. I ordered one just to try it out because I'm trying out different crochet hooks with the idea that I might do a series on the different crochet hooks, like a review of different crochet hooks in the new year, like I've done with knitting needles. So I ordered this one. I hadn't used it yet, so I thought, well, I'll have to use that one. So I worked on this project, I crocheted the beginning bit, and the day before I thought, I'm a bit worried about taking this. I mean, it's 3.75 millimeters, it's not super thin, but it could break easily when it's shoved into my backpack, which was quite full. So I thought I could really do with a metal one, just to be on the safe side. There's a yarn shop in town, which I haven't actually been into before, but I thought, well, I'll pop into town quickly and see if they've got any crochet hooks. So I went in there. They didn't have any of the 3.75 millimeter in stock. I asked the member of staff who was there, and I said, oh, I'm desperate, I'm going on holiday and I haven't got one. So she said, well, borrow mine. I've got spare 3.75 millimeter crochet hooks. Here, borrow one of mine, or have one of mine. And I was like, well, let me pay you for it, because she said, oh, just take one of mine. She didn't say borrow, she said, take one of mine. And I said, well, can I pay you for it? And she said, no, it's just one of my spare ones. It was a metal crochet hook in the right size. Not sure what brand it was. So I was like, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You're amazing. I'll bring it back when I come home. So, and I did take it in yesterday and return it and bought a smaller crochet hook in a different brand instead that I wanted to try out. Anyway, when I packed, I decided to pack this wooden one just in case, because the thing that worries me with crochet hooks is because they're not attached to your project. I'm going to stop waving this around because that's going to annoy some people. But what worries me about crochet is the fact that your hook is not attached to your crochet, to your project. So I thought I'll take a spare one. I'll just pack that one in with my makeup or something, so it's a bit safer, just in case. So after we've been sitting at the airport for a while, I thought I have spare yarn, and I did pack a spare crochet hook. So I dug out my yarn, I dug out my hook. I didn't have my pattern because I was in here, but I did have enough information on my phone that I could start it. And then I thought, when I get there, I can look in Dropbox, access my pattern. The pattern's not fully written out anyway, because originally it was just a few notes, very, very sketchy notes on my phone. I did buy a couple of extra crochet hooks while I was in Lisbon in the 3.75 millimeter, and now I found the one I'd lost. If I thought about where I had it last, I would have found it when I started this project, but never mind, I found that one. So I've now got 1, 2, 3, 4 3.75 millimeter crochet hooks. Anyway, I need to rip this out because that's just stuck there. So I'm going to take that downstairs with me in a minute and rip that out. So I started off by just putting my crochet in a carrier bag, which I must admit I hate. I do like a project bag. So one of the things I bought at Rosa Pomar was a crochet bag, just a thin cotton one, but I thought it was quite cute, light and easy to carry around. And I've done quite a lot. I got the back done. On this one, I think I did 11 repeats to the underarm. But the sleeve is quite long. I'm wondering whether I can do one repeat less so the sleeve is not as baggy. So I think I did 10 on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I did 10 on this one. Well, I did nearly 10. I ran out of yarn on the final row, so I just left that. So I thought I would do the same on the front and then block it and actually pin it together at the underarm and try it on and see what it looks like, or see how it compares to this one. Because I'm using a bigger hook, I'm not sure how that's going to affect the tension. I mean, I did do a swatch, but I didn't do an awful lot of calculations. So we'll see. And then I got started on the front. You work one side of the neck, and then you work the other side of the neck. So I then went into Dropbox on my phone to try and retrieve the pattern, because I know I'd counted how many rows I'd done or how many repeats I'd done to the front neck. It's just worked straight down and then foundation row across the middle. So there's no shaping, even though it looks like a round neckline. That's created by the edging after. So I looked in Dropbox. The folder I thought the pattern was in, it wasn't there. I discovered this morning So I thought that maybe Dropbox hadn't synced properly on my computer when I saved that pattern last time. So it hasn't, so I couldn't access it on my phone. I did discover yesterday that I actually had 2 folders with 2 different names for this pattern. So the pattern was on my phone, it was just in the wrong folder. Again, should have known better. I should have double checked. So anyway, I thought I remembered 4 repeats, and when I got to that, I thought it doesn't look like a lot. So 4 repeats is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's here. So I thought I'll do 5. So I did that, and then I joined at the front, and then I've done 1.5 row since I joined. When I got home, one of the first things I did before I went to bed was I saw this jumper when I came upstairs. So I counted, and it is indeed 4 repeats here. So first I thought I'm not taking it out, but this neckline is quite big. I may do another round on it, I'm not sure, but it's quite big, wide neckline. So I thought I really do need to go back. So because I've only done the foundation, or the joining row, if you like, and I actually managed on the foundation, when I did the foundation stitches, to twist it. So there's a twist here because I can bother to go back and fix it. So I'm going to rip back to 4 rows or 4 repeats on each side, and then redo that. I had hoped on the holiday to get to the underarm on both the front and back, which I didn't manage. Even though, apart from the first day when I didn't take it out with me, I did take it out with me all the other days. Just checking, I've still got a crochet hook in here before I do it up and put it ready to go downstairs with me again. So I am not going to be able to work on this for the next couple of days because I got a deadline project I need to work on. I don't know whether to take this to Norway with me or not, because at the moment it's quite big and I need to bring quite a lot of yarn, and it'll probably take up too much space in my backpack. So I'm in the spare bedroom. There's a pile of stuff there, bed linen and stuff that's been put away, and some of the Simon stuff from Portugal they hasn't put away yet. But next to me, I've got my backpack that I'm taking with me to Norway. So I thought I'd just show you what kind of stuff I take with me, because I've said before that I got all my clothes in Norway. The problem is I don't like the trousers I've got in Norway, so I always take something with me. So let's have a look and see what I've got. So I keep all my clothes in Norway. I got toiletries in Norway, so shampoo, conditioner, face creams, all that kind of stuff. I keep that in Norway. And makeup, knitting kit. Also, I've seen me out in Norway. I'm starting to build up a stash in Norway, which is not very good. What I'm packing. So I have actually packed. So let me just tilt you down a little bit. I have actually packed, but quite often when I say what I'm bringing with me, I'm like, why is my backpack always full? So I'm going to just take this out and check I've got everything. My clothes that I'm wearing on the day I'm traveling are laid out here. So I can just grab them. So let's just take all this out. Let's see what we actually have in here. If there's anything I can take out. Okay. First thing I'm going to take is, I always take a tote bag. I have one from a Danish company, I think it is, called Day Et. It's very popular in Norway. I see loads of people carry these in Norway. It's just like a plain nylon tote bag. I normally take that with me so that if I buy stuff in Norway and I have too much to bring back with me, I can pay for an extra bag and put it in that. Or when I land, I can put my knitting, my drinks, my snacks, anything I want for the train journey home in there. In here, I've got some clothes. I have loads of pairs of trousers in Norway, but I left them there last year when all I was wearing was like skinny jeggings. End of last summer, I finally accepted the fact that wide leg trousers were back in fashion, and I bought a couple of pairs and I really liked them, and since then I bought more, and I don't wear my skinny jeggings anymore. I've still got several pairs from Marks and Spencer's because I would buy them every season when they brought out new colours, and I've got 2 pairs of those in Norway. I think I got a pair of blue ones, like denim ones, and a pair of like gold, cracked goldy metallic ones. They're actually quite worn out, so I think I'm going to bin those when I get there. And then I have a pair of grey, which aren't really skinny, but they're slim leg with like elastic at the bottom, which I brought with me last winter, and then I bought something in Norway, so I couldn't bring them back. But I'm wearing a pair of wide leg jeans, black jeans, and I'm thinking about leaving those to Norway because they are, well, they're not new, I've had them for a few months, but I haven't worn them a lot. So they're quite dark black jeans, and even though they're jeans, because they're dark black, I think they also look a bit smarter. So I think I'm going to leave those in Norway. So I also got this other pair of jeans. They're a bit like those Halara ones that you see advertised. I got these on Amazon. They're like very stretchy jeggings, but they're like flared jeggings. And they got pockets on the front and the back, and I really, really like them. So I was thinking about taking those so I can wear them on the way back. But they do take up more space than I thought they would. So I'll have to see. I need to iron another long sleeve t-shirt to take with me because I could do with some more long sleeve t-shirts in Norway. Yes, I know I could buy stuff there, but the problem is when you plus size, you can't always guarantee that you can find stuff that you need in the shops. Norwegian shops really aren't very size inclusive at all. There is one shop near where my parents live in the local shopping centre called Kappal, which is quite good. I've bought quite a few things this year. And there's also one in a nearby shopping centre called Sisi, I think, which is also it's small, but they do some quite good stuff. Anyway, I put this in a small packing cube. It's a compressed one. So with the compression ones, if you stuff them really full, they fit less in. So if you stuff them like nearly full, and then you can do the second zipper, and they just squash down a bit. So that can go in the bottom of my bag. And then I have my sweater, my grey alpaca silk sweater with beads on it. I'm going to take that one because it's fairly lightweight and doesn't take up too much space. Now, I put it in here just to protect it. Ryanair have recently changed their luggage restrictions. So you can now take a bag which is, I think it used to be 40 by 20 by 25. It's now 40 by 30 by 25. But a lot of people are saying that their previous sizer things at the gate were that size anyway. So the backpack I got when I bought it, it said that it is 40 by 20 by 25. But if you stuff it full, it used to be kind of borderline where they fit in their sizer. So I'm assuming now that they've increased the thing, I can stuff it full and it'll be okay. But I'm not 100% sure because I've seen loads of people on the Ryanair subreddit saying that their sizer bins haven't actually changed size. Because they were always 40 by 30 by 25, which I'm not sure I believe. But so what I'm going to do when I get to Stansted, as I walk through the check-in area on the way to the security, I'm going to just pop my bag in the sizer, because there's usually a couple there near the Ryanair check-in area. I'm just going to pop it in there and see how it fits. And if I'm struggling, I can take this out and wear it when I board, or carry it over my arm with my jacket. But I'm going to put it in here now because I don't think I want to wear it on the train unless I get cold, in which case I'll get it out. I'm going to take some Clear Whey protein powder. It's got creatine in it as well. I took one of these to Portugal with me. And at home, I do use protein powder every day. And it's just an easy way to make sure I get enough protein. And this one isn't too big. I took it with me to Portugal, and I had probably like half of it left there. I had like one or two. Then you just mix them with water and they taste quite nice. But I was worried about taking an open one back through security because it's basically white powder. So this is all sealed up, and I really like the flavour of this. It tastes really nice. It's a peach iced tea flavour. So it doesn't take up too much space. Last time I was in Norway, I went to buy some protein powder and in the local health food shop, and I couldn't find the one I wanted. So I'm going to take that one. Just in case. And then I've got my medication now. I'm on a whole lot of drugs. It's my medication bag. It's quite big. I've got some medications I've left in Norway, so I counted exactly how much I'd need. This also includes my HRT. I'm on these little sachets now, and I've got to use 3 of those a day. They take up a lot less space than when I was on like one that was in a bottle, which was quite big. So this takes up less. And I got some supplements in here, and I got some of my eye drops in here. So the eye drops I've got, actually this one doesn't, this one. My other eye drops have got my prescription label on them, because they're on prescription, so that they don't have to go in my liquids bag, but this one doesn't. So I will put that in my liquids bag. I don't know how strict they are anymore, because you don't have to get your liquids out at Stansted anymore. All your liquids and taken to stay in your bag. Although every time I've been through there this year with these new rules, I've had to get it out, so I don't know. And then this is my little whiskey thing to whiz up my protein powder. I don't find shaking it works very well, so I'm taking this one. I have another one, but the cover over the on-off button keeps falling off. So I bought this one. It's battery operated, which is a bit annoying. The other one is a rechargeable one, but it comes in a case built in. So I'm taking that with me. I took that to Portugal with me as well. Taking a scarf just in case I get a bit chilly on the plane or whatever. I put it in this Bimbo and Lola dust bag that I got with something or other a while ago. I don't know. I packed this one. I don't quite know why. Oh, it's got one of the covers for my microphone. It had one of the foam covers for my microphone in there, and I don't quite know why. Unless it's my spare one. I used this in Portugal. I'm not going to take that. This is a little case that I keep my microphones in, my mics in, so I need to pack those when I finish recording. In here are I do have a big charging plug with like 3 USB things in Norway, but I always take one. So in here, I've got a small double one. I might leave that at home actually. No, I'll take that. Doesn't take up much space. And a single one. That one I can probably leave at home. I don't need that, because I already have one in Norway that has 3, I think. And then this one, which is a UK plug, but you pull that one up so it doesn't take up as much space. It's a Samsung one, came with my phone ages ago. And then I have my watch charging lead and a regular charging lead. I do also have a charging lead in Norway. I actually have 2 charging leads in here, so I'm going to leave one at home, because I have a long charging lead in Norway, so I don't need that. It's just if I need to charge it on the way, or if we get delayed or anything. Also, which I forgot to say, in my packing cube, I also have pair of underpants and socks, so that if there's any delays and I end up having to spend the night in London on Wednesday night, I have clothes to change into. In this pouch, I have some toiletry stuff, my charging block, some jewellery, makeup wipes, stuff like that. So I can go in here. Let me just tilt it back down again so you can see how it's packing up. And then in here, I have some of my like solid toiletries, lip balms, tweezers. I use these wipes to clean my eyelids because I have something called blepharitis. They are taking up a lot of space. I may take them out and not bother with them. And I also have some eyeliners, or one eyeliner, because I keep all my makeup in Norway except for eyeliners, and I have some hair elastics. And I have this thing which is really good for my neck, and a travel hairbrush, and a travel toothbrush, and some earplugs. Travel toothbrush is mainly because I have toothbrush in Norway. It's mainly if I get stuck for any reason. In here I've got my scarf, my fairy tale, I think it's called, my what's it called, kiviet, brioche, beaded brioche scarf. I really like to take that because it's so lightweight. It's very, very warm. It's quite cold in Norway at the moment. But it's supposed to warm up for later this week and then get colder again. So again, it's in one of these dust bags because it just keeps it nice and clean. Okay, is that it? I was going to take my leggings because I'm planning to go for a workout while I'm there, but I'm not going to take those because of space. I'm already running out of space in here. Some nail stuff because I wear press-on nails, so some spare nails and things. Oh, yeah, I'm running out of space in here, aren't I? Stick that in there. I've taken a couple of big Ziploc bags because last time I bought some clothes in Norway and I bought a skirt and I ended up putting it in just a normal, not a Ziploc bag, but just a normal like freezer bag, and then just tying it up really tight and squeezing as much air out of it as possible to get it in. And then my liquids bag, there may be some more stuff to go in there, but I think I've got more or less everything in there. Maybe put some more I got eye drops in there. Yeah, I think I've probably got everything I need in there. So that normally goes at the top of my bag, so that when I get to security, if I do have to take it out, didn't have to take it out at Bristol Airport when we went to Lisbon, don't have to take it out at Stansted anymore, but a couple of times they wanted to look at it when I've been there, so it's useful to have it handy. Okay, that's it. So this is and then let me just zip this up. Let's make sure it zips up. Okay, I haven't packed a knitting project, which you may have noticed, but that is pretty full, so I need to put my laptop in the back pocket here. And I have, it's got this small pocket on the top here. In here I have a fan because I get really, really hot. It's really strong. I used it in Portugal a lot. It's quite noisy. The girls were not impressed with it. It's quite noisy, but I just get really hot at airports. So I brought that, even though it's not summer. I use it a lot in Portugal. This bag, which is an Echo Hub, also has a pocket on the front here. Don't normally use that. I might put my Kindle in there. And then it's got a pocket here where I've got my pouch with my passport, travel insurance, a small notebook. And I also have my notions kit in here and a spare power bank. So I've got 2 spare power banks with me. I can just, I'm a bit worried about making this, putting too much stuff in this pocket on the front, because it'll make my bag too deep that way. And then it's also got this big pocket in here, which I don't normally use. Problem is, if you fill stuff in all these pockets, it does take away from the inside space. So all I need to put in here is my tablet, if I decide to take it, my spare phone, which is the one I'm recording on now, my laptop, and my lead. I'm thinking about getting a spare laptop lead to leave in Norway. I don't normally take my laptop, but I've decided because I go so often I need to start taking my laptop so I can do a bit of work while I'm there, because I'm total trips this year, I'll have been there for total, once we get to the end of the year, for 97 days. And that's too many days to not work. Used to be able to work on my parents' laptop, but they don't have like Word and things anymore, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. So I think this is it. But I haven't put a knitting project in there. It is Monday morning, and you may be able to hear that I have a bit of a stinking cold. You may also be able to hear my printer going next to me, but I want to get this filmed before I go downstairs and do some other work and have a bit of a break. So I was teaching on Friday. I have a little clip of the video from Knitting Hotel to show you. We're doing Selby mittens, which are Norwegian colourwork mittens, and steeking. We had 3 people do mittens and the rest did the steeking, so I just filmed everyone, or nearly everyone, I can't remember, when they did the cutting bit, because that's the most exciting part of the workshop. It's quite a full-on workshop, teaching 2 things in one day, basically, so it was a bit full-on, but I really enjoyed it. Most of the people there, I think nearly everyone there, I'd met before. Some of them have been in quite a few of my workshops, so it's really nice to see them. And yes, I always enjoy teaching at the Knitting Hotel. I remember in Portugal last week, Simon caught a cold. He was ill for the last couple of days we were there and the day we travelled home. And he was in bed for the first 2 full days at home. And then I think on Friday when I was teaching, he said he was in bed for like the morning and then got up. He's still not quite over his cold. And my daughters have both had it or having it at the moment. Even though one of them caught a cold in Portugal when she was there last month. She caught it again from Simon. And I felt fine on Friday. I thought I'd escaped it, and then Saturday morning I woke up. Well, Friday evening before I went to bed, I thought I got a little bit of a sore throat. My colds always start with a sore throat, and Simon said he didn't have a sore throat, but he always gets sinus problems when he gets a cold. Apologies for that noisy printer. All my knitting over the weekend has been working on the deadline project. So I picked up the stitches for the top down sleeves. I was doing top down sleeves with short row shoulder shaping for the sleeve cap. Did that on Friday night, picked up the stitches, knitted most of the sleeve cap, and I thought this looks way too big for the size I'm knitting. So I ripped that out again, did it on Saturday morning, and knitted the first sleeve. I knitted nearly all of it. I think I had like 4 rounds left on the bottom of the sleeve and the cast off when I went to bed Saturday night, but I was just too tired to do it. And then on Sunday, I finished that and started the second sleeve, and I finished that yesterday evening, fairly early in the evening, because after that I had time to work on another project for a few minutes. So once I finished the sleeves yesterday, I wove in all the ends and everything, and I just need to give it a good steam press and measure it, and then finish writing the pattern. But once I'd finished that, I think I worked on this a little bit on Friday as well, but I can't remember. But last time I talked about this, I was there. So I've knitted that, so nearly the same as I had the first time I knitted on this. So I was thinking, do I take this? I might do, because I can knit on this today and tomorrow. I was going to work on my crochet project, but I might just knit on this instead and try and finish it. And then I can do all the measurements and everything before I go to Norway, and then write the pattern and send it to my tech editor while I'm in Norway. I got this clutch frame that I got from Mimey and Florrie. So the advantage of this is that it has these 2 little fastenings here, so you can fasten like a chain in it. And I actually have a gold chain that I could fasten in there, or you can tuck them in if you just want to use it as a clutch frame. So I got that. I need to actually look at how you assemble it. It does have a little QR code thing on there, and I have the lining made up as well. So if I finish knitting that today or tomorrow, I could assemble it and photograph it and take a quick photograph of it, not a proper one, but a quick one, and actually write the pattern while I'm in Norway and get that off to my tech editor. I was thinking about taking this with me, but I don't have a ton of knitting left on it, so I need some knitting to do on my travel day, because as I said, I think earlier in this video, when I get to Norway, I have this mohair silk yarn that I bought in May for a sweater, or a top of some description, sleeveless top I think I'm doing. I did the swatch. I didn't write down what needle size I used for the swatch, but I think it's probably 3.5. I showed this the other week, and you can see it's faded because it's been lying on my windowsill. So I might put that on my desk so I measure the tension later. My plan was to write the pattern before I left. I haven't had time to do that, so I will need to write the pattern when I get to Norway on Thursday. So I may need a project that I can work on when I get there. The other thing is, when I'm teaching at Knit and Stitch Show in Harrogate in November, one of my workshops is seaming workshop, where I'm going to teach everyone how to do mattress stitch, rows to rows, stitches to stitches, and stitches to rows, as long as we've got time for all that. So, but the Knit and Stitch Show don't want workshops where people have to prepare stuff in advance. So normally for my finishing techniques workshop, everyone will bring 3 swatches with them that we work on in the class. They're a bit bigger than this. But I can't do that for the Knit and Stitch Show. If you have booked into that workshop at the Knit and Stitch Show in Harrogate, let me know. And if you could knit a couple of these and bring video, I'd be so grateful. So I need to knit a bunch of these. And I thought about this in the summer, and I thought, well, every time I do a swatch for a new design, that's just stocking stitch. Normally I would do some garter stitch at the edges just to help it lie flat. I'll just do stocking stitch right to the edge so I can use it for this seaming class. And then I'll have a stack of them. I have one. I've done one. This is actually the swatch for the design I'm currently working on for a magazine. So I need to knit quite a few more. So I'm thinking about just packing 1 or 2 50-gram balls of DK yarn and some 4mm needles and knitting that on the travel day. Because once I've knitted them, I can put them flat in the bottom of my backpack and they don't take up a lot of space. But obviously that's going to be a bit boring. But because I wouldn't have anything else to work on the day I'm traveling, I would have to work on that. So I am considering doing that just to get that job done. It's really boring. The other thing I'm thinking about is doing this one, because I'm using this new clutch frame I got from Mimey and Florrie. I also want this one in a version that uses the clutch frame that I sell, the metal ones. If I can get hold of some clutch frames similar to that, I will do, but I can't guarantee that, and I don't want to ask another business where they buy their stuff wholesale, because it annoys me when people ask me that unless it's somebody I know. So I don't really want to do that. So I am thinking about knitting that one again, and let me describe the yarn I'm thinking about using. I was thinking, mainly inspired by the fact that I had a bag of these beads on my desk. I really love that colour. I'm thinking about using these two colours. Now, I've knitted other things in these two and I really like them, but I was thinking that might be quite good. And this doesn't take up a ton of space. I need to work out whether I need two of the darker colour or just one. And I can just take the knitting and do the knitting while I'm in Norway and then assemble it and do the lining and stuff when I come home. I am considering doing that. But my backpack is very, very full, so we'll see what I end up getting space for. But I was thinking when I was working on this the other night that it would be good to release this pattern kind of before Christmas, in time for people to actually knit it up for Christmas, because it's quite sparkly. So I think it'd be quite a good sort of party season bag. But if I was going to do that, I probably should have had it ready already. But I thought if I can get this first version finished and off to my tech editor, so that it's ready to be released soonish after I get back from Norway, so like mid-November maybe. But I really would like to knit up a second version as well. So I am considering doing that, but I don't know. We need to see what we've got room for in my backpack. I haven't done any work on my crochet project that I've worked on in Portugal. That remains untouched. And I'm not going to do any more work on this now until I come back from Norway. So when I come back from Norway, I will have 2 half-finished sweaters and a few other half-finished things downstairs. So the first video when I come back will be a bit of a whip organising and prioritising, I think. Right, that's it for today, I think. I will hopefully be back on Thursday with a bit of a travel vlog, where you'll see what I decide to knit on while I travel to Norway. And if anything exciting in terms of knitting happens tomorrow, I might include that. But I want to get this edited today so I can upload it. I finished printing my workshop notes. I printed my workshop notes for the workshop 2 days after I come back from Norway, and one of my workshops the following week, as I'm teaching the same workshop in 2 places. If you're interested in any of my workshops this autumn, I'm teaching at the Sewing Box in Brixham in South Devon. I'm teaching at Spinning Yarn in Devon, just south of Exeter. I'm teaching one more workshop at the Knitting Hotel, but that's probably already full. And I'm teaching at the Knit and Stitch Show in Harrogate. I will put the link to all of those below, so if you're interested, do go and check them out. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. I will see you next time from Norway.